Guys, all right, so this is going to be the next part to the what I was talking about, compassion. I did these videos in little pieces so it wouldn't be like this long video. Okay, all right, this one is about how to cultivate compassion. I got a letter from someone and she said to me that she when she goes around people, she can pretty much feel who ain't shit, who's fucked up, who's a good person. She can feel it coming off of them. And once she feels it coming off of the person, if it's bad, she has a really hard time getting past the negative feelings of disgust, repulsion, whatever the case is. If they're a negative person or if they have a bad vibe, she has a hard time getting past it and she doesn't want to be around them. Now, this is going to be simple when it's somebody you can escape from. Like she said, 9 times out of 10, she can, get away from them. But that 1 time out of 10, when it's a person who you have to be around, such as a coworker, when it's a person who you're on you're stuck in some kind of close quarters with, and you can't you can't escape from at that moment. So she's saying, like, how do I stay away from being so angry and so disgusted and just like wanting to choke them. And what I figured out what her situation is that two things. She talked about how intense these feelings were, how she can feel it so quickly. And I realized two things with her. Number one, she's an empath. And some of you guys probably are too. It's very, very, very common for Aquarius to be empaths. Common for water signs to be empaths too. So one of the things about it is that an empath is somebody who picks up on other people's vibrations. Emotions are vibrations. So if somebody has negative emotions, negative vibrations, you can pretty much feel it. You don't have to like be able to read their mind and they're a serial killer, but you can feel from their vibrations something about them ain't right, and you don't want them nowhere near you. It's like a repulsion. That's an empathic ability. So I don't think you realize, or maybe you do realize, I'm not sure, because she was telling me she's a Cancer and I think a Virgo moon and an Aquarius rising. And I'm like, oh my God. As soon as she said the combination and then said what she was feeling, I'm like, you're an empath. So this is wonderful news. This is great news because this means you have a very strong ability. Now, it may not seem like good news to you because it's bothersome when you have these icky people coming around you and you're feeling all that energy coming off of them. Yeah, but it's a good news because of the fact that it helps you to know who's cool and who's not, who's trustworthy, and pretty quickly. You don't have to waste a lot of time dating somebody for 6 months, just to see that they not the right person. You don't have to spend a lot of time. Like with me, I don't spend very much time sizing people up because of the vibration. I use my empathic ability. I feel them real quick and I back up or I come forward. you know it's either one or the other. So that's what I wanted to say, is that you should research empathic abilities. Empathic, Empath, empath. You're an empath. So you should research the abilities because you can actually learn how to use them. And you can there's certain techniques that they have for, like, they call it empaths learning control. So it's certain control methods that you can learn, like how to control your ability so it's not as strong. The repulsion isn't as strong. You're still going to be repulsed, but it won't be as strong once you know how to control your empathic abilities. So that's one thing that's going to help you specifically. Anybody who has empathic abilities, because other people's vibrations, their energy, their emotions make you sick. Sometimes they can make you sick. I remember somebody was mad at me once and I almost threw up. Like, the energy came in the room and I was like, ugh, like, almost threw up literally. So that's a person that's an empath. If you have those kind of moments, that's an empathic ability. If you can pick up that another person is upset or hurt or something's going on with them without body language, you're an empath. You are picking up on their energy. You're reading their energy. You're feeling it in your own energy field, in your own aura, and you're picking up and you're like, whoa, you don't feel right. Whoa, you feel sick. Whoa, you feel unhappy. You can feel it. And it's very strong. And some of the times it's like overpowering. So if it's repulsion, if you have a messed up person and you feel repulsion or anger towards them, it's going to be a very, very strong frustration. Any of that's going to be strong, even if it's positive. When you meet a positive person, you're going to be like, oh, I just love them. It's like you're just going to like, they're going to be so warm and teddy bearish to you, you can just feel it. You feel their energy, and it's like, so positive, negative emotions, whatever the emotions are, you're going to feel them strongly. So the only thing you can do, like I said, is learn how to control. Empaths can dial it down. You can dial down the intensity of what you're feeling. You have to teach yourself the methods by learning about empathic abilities. Another thing is that, let's say you don't have empathic abilities. Let's say you're just a normal old Joe, and when somebody comes around and their energy is gook, you have a hard time being able to stay in the room or stay around them. You feel repulsion, you feel anger, you feel those kind of things welling up inside of you. You don't like it, you don't want to be that person. You're stuck in the room with them. Now what do I do? This happens to a lot of people, especially people at work. We all have worked with people that we cannot stand, and when they walk in the room, when they walk in the room, you just like, it just kills your whole mood. And for these people, these kinds of people, I always say the answer is to practice compassion for them, to practice having empathy for them. And so someone said to me yesterday, how do I practice compassion? Well, you have to cultivate compassion. Compassion means to look at a person, to connect with what they're feeling, to understand what the real motivation is behind it. Because half of the time when they're going off on you, like I said yesterday, it's not because of what they're going off about. You have to understand about the underlying situation that's going on, and connect with it and have compassion for them, and not respond to the attack, not respond to the insult, not respond to that aspect of it, but respond to what's really going on. Respond to their hurt is really what you're doing. So when they snap on you, instead of snapping back, we realize in that instance that this person is speaking from a place of pain. Now, a lot of times in a job, you'll even know what that pain is. You might even know what the situation was. You might have been privy to it, seen it, or heard about it through the grapevine. So when it's a person like that, a person that you're stuck in quarters with and they're really ugly, and there's nothing you can do, like I said, practice compassion. So I wanted to tell you guys some ways that you can cultivate compassion, because compassion is not something that many of us were raised to give another person. Somebody told me today, she said, we don't get very much compassion, much less giving it. Some people don't even know what it is. It's never even been modeled to them. So I wanted to talk to you guys about cultivating compassion. Okay. Well, one way to cultivate compassion, and this is what I do. These are the ways I use myself. I meditate on compassion and forgiveness. So basically, I get like a YouTube meditation. They have a whole bunch of them. I might type in Reiki and forgiveness. That's a common one I might type in. And something comes up, some musical selection or some Reiki selection over music. And I will sit and just focus on compassion. I'll think about the definition of compassion. I'll think about times when people have been compassionate with me. I think about times when I could have been more compassionate with others. And if that happened again, how could I do that differently? I think about forgiveness of myself, compassion towards myself. Like, I just focus on those concepts and how can I do this better. So I meditate on compassion and forgiveness. It's just thinking about it, it's pondering it, it's contemplating it, it's seeing it, it's just journaling about it. That's another thing I do during this time. It's like when I'm finished meditating on it, I might journal about it. And a lot of times when I meditate on something, I might just focus on the word. I might just see compassion in my mind, and I may say, Goddess, all that is, Kuan Yin, please show me something I need to understand about compassion. And I might just sit there and breathe and see the word compassion in my mind. And sometimes they'll say something to me, they'll show me a scenario, they'll show me a time, a picture, something. Sometimes nothing happens, and I'm just sitting there with the feeling of warmth in my heart, and I can just feel them around me. And then, like a couple days, a couple hours, a couple moments later, they'll show me something to come to my phone, or something to come to the computer, or somebody will send me a letter, or something that answers the compassion question I was just meditating on. Okay? So that's one way of cultivating compassion, is by meditating on compassion. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you can spare. And it'll put you in that space the more and more you work on it. Practicing after you meditate on it and you got it down pat, then you have to practice compassion and forgiveness. Practice compassion and forgiveness on yourself and with other people. When you do something, when you make a mistake, practice treating yourself compassionately, not yelling at yourself, not berating yourself, not thinking, oh my God, I'm so stupid, I did this again. Instead, thinking, okay, I did this again, I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to do better next time. Those are the kind of thoughts you have to cultivate in your mind. And it's not easy at first, especially if you're not used to talking to yourself like that. Okay? And practice it with other people. Somebody does something to you, they step on your foot, they yell at you, they break something of yours. Practice being compassionate. Like, okay, it's all right. It's all right. I know you didn't mean it. You'll never, you'll never know how much it can mean to another person that you didn't snap on them, that you didn't yell at them, that you didn't get angry at them. So practice it with other people. Practice it. Sometimes you're not going to do good with it. Sometimes you're going to be in a bad mood. Sometimes you're not going to do well. But whenever you can, practice being compassionate with yourself and others in real life situations. If your baby mom calls and she gives you an attitude, practice being like, you know what? I know she's upset. I know the kids put her through a lot today. Let me not call her any kind of names and get mad at her. Okay, I understand what you need. I'll see you later on. And just get off the phone. Look at it for what it is. And then get off the phone. you know? All right, this is another one. Look for the good in people and yourself. When you don't like somebody, look for the good in them. When you're mad at yourself, look for the good in you. Make a list. Even people you don't like have one or two good qualities. I can think of somebody I didn't like in the past. And I can think of 1, 2, 3 good qualities that he had, even though I didn't particularly care for him. Everybody has something. So when somebody is displeasing to you, especially a colleague, think about what you do like about them. Focus on the things you do like about them and address those things too. When that person comes around, instead of, being so annoyed with the things that you don't like about them, notice the things you do like about them. Oh, they always keep their hair really nice. And when they come around, say that to them. Oh, your hair looks really nice. Try to focus on those things in yourself and others. Don't nitpick at yourself. Oh, my leg's too fat, my arm's too short. Think about, what do you like about yourself? And if there's nothing that you like about yourself, change that. What things can you do to like more things about yourself? If you don't like anything about yourself, something is very deeply wrong. Very, very deeply wrong. And you need to explore that. Why don't you like anything about yourself? And go down that path, because we all have something about us that's likable, and you should be able to find it in yourself and others. I always like to compliment people on their virtues, people I don't like especially, and people that I like. I like to compliment them on what I see in them that's good. Compliment them on, I saw you feeding that homeless person yesterday. That was really cool. Compliment them on the good that they do. Compliment them on their virtues. Sometimes if you don't like somebody and you start to say these kinds of things to them, you'll shift the vibration of your relationship. They'll be like, all right, I never did like her, but she actually is okay. They might not never be your best friend, but at least maybe whatever tension is going on between you might become more cooperative. Okay? So compliment people and yourself. Think about things about yourself. I'm like, I did that good today. Before you go to bed, ask yourself, what did you do good today? I always used to journal. I don't journal as much anymore because I'm like tired when I go to bed. But now, I'm thinking back and I'm like, I should start journaling again. Because one of the things I had was these cool questions I asked myself. And one of them was, what did you do good today? What did you do positive today? What did you like today? What was your best part of today? Ask yourself more things like that and journal about them, write about the good virtues you have as well. Then, oracle cards. I have two of them. I don't know if they're over here or not, but I have two of them. I'm gonna put on this video a bunch of links for some of the things we're talking about right now that can help you. Um, like some Reiki for compassion, a couple of things like that. I'm gonna put a couple of links out here. A book I think I like a lot. And the other thing I was saying was oracle cards. Oracle cards are basically cards that have positive, inspiring messages on them. I use them a lot when I do readings. I have them from the angels, I have them from different places. And I picked out two that are really helpful with cultivating compassion. And one is called the Kuan Yin Oracle Deck. And the other is called the Buddhism, what do they call it? The Buddhism reading cards or the Buddhism something cards, wisdom cards, I think it is. So when I finish with this video, I'm going to put all those links underneath this video so you can check them out. Get yourself some oracle cards. They're really cool. And these two that I picked out in particular have a strong message about compassion and empathy. So they'll be very helpful if you need to work in this area. Another area, there's classes. Daily Om has a class called How to Communicate Like a Buddhist, and it's all about communicating from a compassionate space. Okay? And the other one here I have is called Identify with Their Pain. So the last thing that you can do to help you cultivate compassion is identify with the pain of the people that you don't like. So let's say you don't like the girl at your job. She has a nasty attitude. She get on your nerves. She's really rude. She always talking smack. You don't like her. She don't like you. Nobody else like her either. So you do know that there are things about her that mirror you. There are things about her that you've been through. For example, you may know that she lost a child. She might have had a miscarriage. You may know that she lost one of her parents. Maybe you did too. You may know that she's struggling financially, and maybe you are too. So identify with the person. Like, you know what? She got a bad back, and so do I. Maybe that's why she's such a bitch, you know? And identify with it. Like, I could understand that because I'm a bitchy too when my back hurts. Think about these kind of things. Think about what other person is coming from. When you identify with someone, you think about where they're coming from and how it mirrors places you are or have been, you know? And in that instance, this is all about shifting the vibration. So in that instance, that might make you not treat her so harshly. That might make you not give her such a nasty look. That might make your vibration towards her not be so strong, like repulsion. And maybe then her vibration will be like, it's alleviated some. And the friction between you may not be as bad. You see? So these ways are ways that you can change things on the vibrational and the energetic level, and that'll help you on the physical level. So these are a couple ways that can help you guys cultivate more compassion. I gave you these ways because these are the ways that I use. So you have to, like I said before, if you want to learn this particular way of dealing with people, you have to learn how to cultivate and then practice using compassion and empathizing with others and that kind of thing. And then you'll notice a lot of changes. The biggest change you'll notice is that you won't be always feeling those feelings of anger and disgust towards people. Also, when it's time for you to go to like an event or something like that, you won't be dreading it and have anxiety about it, because most of the time that's because you know you're going to go, you know it's going to be people there you don't like, and you know they're going to get on your nerves. You know all those things like 2 days before, so you start to feel anxious, you start to feel like I don't even want to go, those kind of feelings start arising. But if you start thinking like, you know what, there are a couple people there that are problematic, but Becky's only problematic because she's really in a bad situation. You start to think about them. And when I was in that situation, I felt the same way. You kind of empathize with these energies, and then you don't feel as strongly repulsed by them, as the negative energy isn't as strong. It shifts the vibration. And then a lot of times can even make really good changes in the relationship. Um, Sometimes the relationships get better. Now, it won't happen every time. Some people, you'll do these methods with them and you'll be able to just tolerate them. You'll be able to just bear them. And that does happen sometimes. Sometimes it gets way better, and sometimes it's just, you can tolerate them. I would rather be able to tolerate them than be repulsed by them every time I walk in the office. Okay? So consider the things that I said. Look at these links, and let me know what you think. Okay? See you later. Bye bye.